We all crave pleasure. It's a fundamental drive, hardwired into our brains. But what happens when we can access that pleasure directly, bypassing the natural processes that usually govern it? What happens when we artificially flood the reward system? Animal studies, some of them quite disturbing, offer a stark warning. The story often starts with the reward pathway, a network of brain structures, most notably involving the neurotransmitter dopamine. This pathway evolved to motivate us to engage in behaviors essential for survival and reproduction, things like eating, drinking, and sex. When we do these things, we get a hit of dopamine, a feeling of pleasure, reinforcing the behavior. In the 1950s, researchers James Olds and Peter Milner made a groundbreaking, and ultimately troubling, discovery. They implanted electrodes into the brains of rats, specifically targeting areas within the reward pathway. When the rats pressed a lever, they received a small electrical stimulation directly to these brain regions. The results were shocking. The rats became obsessed with pressing the lever. They would press it hundreds, even thousands of times per hour, ignoring food, water, and even their own pups. They would press it until they collapsed from exhaustion, only to resume as soon as they woke up. They had found a shortcut to pure, unadulterated reward, and it completely hijacked their behavior. This phenomenon, known as intracranial self-stimulation, or ICSS, demonstrated the incredible power of directly activating the reward system. It bypassed the need for any actual achievement or benefit. The pleasure became the sole goal, overriding all other drives. While this specific experiment involved electrical stimulation, the principle applies to other ways of artificially activating the reward system. Highly palatable foods, especially those engineered to be hyperstimulating, loaded with sugar, fat, and salt, can trigger abnormally large dopamine releases. Certain drugs, like cocaine and amphetamines, directly flood the brain with dopamine, creating an intense high that far surpasses any naturally achievable pleasure. This is the root of addiction. The brain becomes so focused on obtaining this artificial reward that it disregards everything else. But the implications extend beyond drugs and food. Think about the constant stream of notifications, likes, and validation we receive from social media. Or the carefully designed reward loops in video games, with their constant stream of points, achievements, and virtual rewards. These, too, tap into our reward pathways, albeit in a less direct way. The danger lies in the disconnect between the reward and any genuine benefit. In the natural world, pleasure is usually a signal that we're doing something beneficial for our survival or well-being. When we artificially stimulate the reward system, that signal becomes meaningless. We become trapped in a cycle of pursuing pleasure for pleasure's sake, often at the expense of our health, relationships, and overall well-being. The rat studies offer a chilling analogy. We, too, can become lever pressers, endlessly chasing artificial rewards that provide fleeting pleasure, but ultimately leave us empty and unfulfilled. We can become addicted to the dopamine hits, losing sight of the things that truly matter. The lesson isn't to avoid pleasure altogether. Pleasure is a vital part of a healthy life. The key is to be mindful of the source of our pleasure. Are we pursuing genuine, meaningful experiences that contribute to our well-being? Or are we falling prey to artificial rewards that hijack our brains and lead us down a path of diminishing returns? Understanding the power, and the potential dangers, of the reward system is crucial for navigating the modern world, a world increasingly filled with opportunities for artificial stimulation. It's about finding a balance, seeking genuine fulfillment, and resisting the siren song of the lever.